Smart parents let their kids use iPads. And here's why. A lot of my parenting clients are asking me like, Alan, I'm so frustrated with my kids because all they want is iPad time. They don't want to do anything else. They don't want to have dinner. They don't want to do homework. They don't want to read. My kid is completely addicted to iPad and all they want is watch YouTube. They want to play Roblox or Minecraft and I can't get my kids to go outside and do anything. I'm so frustrated. I totally get it. I understand where you're coming from because, I have a kid too. I'm going to challenge you on that thought. And the challenge is, what if I told you that your kid's so-called iPad addiction is actually preparing them for the future? Would you believe me? Number two is, are we really raising screen addiction kids, or are we raising next generations of digital natives who will dominate the future? How do you think about that? And the third thought-provoking question I want to ask you is, if iPads are so bad for kids, why are the world's most successful entrepreneurs, engineers, and creators all tech obsessed from early age on in? Something to think about, right? So in this episode, we're going to talk about the mistakes to avoid. And the mistakes to avoid, number one, is you want to think about the future is digital. So whether you're going to adopt or not, your child's going to get left behind. I know this because I worked at an artificial intelligence company several years ago. And I saw the trend. This is back in 2020, 22, 2021. Even at the time, I already knew just where the industry is going. Every company, I don't care if you're Ford, Porsche, Walmart, Target, Costco, every single company is going to AI. Obviously, tech company, we already know Facebook and Google, they are going to AI from that tech perspective, right? But even the brick and mortar companies, everybody's going to go to AI because I worked on those projects. I work with these clients and things like, for example, when you type in a search if you go to Walmart or Target, you type in search engine, things like chocolate protein bar, that search engine comes back and tells you what that search is about. That's actually using AI because the artificial intelligence got to know, like, are you looking for chocolate bars? Are you looking for protein bars? Are you looking for Cliff bars? There's innate intelligence behind it. The world is really moving towards AI automation, digital learning. If you think about it, by the time 6 years from now, right now is 2025, actually 5 years from now, in 2030, the estimated market cap for this AI industry is going to be $100 billion. 5 years from now, it's going to be $100 billion. If you're not going to be on this boat with your kid, you guys are going to miss out the entire journey, this entire ride, this gravy train. So that's the number one mistakes to avoid. Number two mistake to avoid is tech literacy is really a non-negotiable life skill, in my opinion. Because if you think about it, just like reading or writing, navigating screen time is a fundamental skill. Because back in the 19th century, if you remember, there was a time actually people banned books. So if you ban screen time, it's actually the same like you're banning in the 19th century, you're banning reading books. Because what's going to happen is AI will not replace jobs. It's the kids that knows how to use AI that will be employed versus the kids that don't know how to use AI. And how do we get into AI? Well, you guessed it, right? They got to be tech savvy, know how to be comfortable and be able to use iPad as screen time. So in fact, recently I read this news, is hot off the press, is that Salesforce, a very large company, they just laid off 1,000 employees who are hiring for AI roles. And that trend's going to keep happening. Another workforce management called Workday, they laid off 1,750 employees just to make room for AI. And you're already seeing this trend starting. A good friend of mine, she is a chief data scientist for T-Mobile, the phone company. Recently, they rolled out a training video to teach everyone within the company how to use ChatGPT. If you don't know what ChatGPT is, go look it up in Google. You'll find some more answers. But my point is this, is the kids that knows how to use prompt, knows how to use AI will be employed. Those were the kids will replace with kids that don't know how. So that's number two. Number three, I want to share with you is rejection breeds obsessions. What that means is your kid's going to rebel if you haven't already seen this. If you restrict too much. What that means is you're using iPad as a reward. Okay, here, go do your homework. When you finish with your homework, then you can use iPad. When you don't listen to me, I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi and no iPad privileges. And when you do that, you create a lot of friction between you and your kid and this constant battle, pushing back. And that's when it happens because rejection breeds obsession. So I'm going to do a quick exercise with you if you don't believe in that. Here's a psychology, right? Is when we push back and the kids keep pushing back, this is the point I want to make. I'd like to invite you, if you're not driving, if you're just sitting there, if you are driving, take a moment to listen to this later or just pause for a moment, pull aside and do this quick couple second exercise. I'd like to invite you to think about a banana in front of you. Notice the color, notice the shape, notice the size. Maybe you can even smell it. Maybe you can even taste it. So notice that texture, color, taste, what it looks like, what it feels like holding it, and what it tastes like. Okay, you got it? So now you have a picture perfect of the banana, how it tastes, how it looks like, how it feels like in your mouth. Now I'd like to invite you to don't think about banana. Don't think about the banana. Don't think about how it smells. Don't think about how it tastes. You can't taste the sugar. Don't think about the creaminess of taste, right? The consistency of the banana. I don't want you to think, why are you thinking about the banana? Don't think about the banana. What happens? Our brain actually gets triggered that we're saying like banana, banana, banana. But I just told you not to think about bananas. So stop thinking about bananas, right? We're all going bananas here, by the way. You get my point. The more we resist, the more we push back. And that's when rejection breeds obsession. We talked about the 3 major mistakes to avoid in our growth mindset parenting series. And in the next series, we're talking about how do we overcome it? Because I am not preaching saying, hey, give unlimited access of iPad time, screen time to your kids. That's not what I'm trying to say. There is a point where we can use iPad as a learning tool. There is a point we can use iPad as to be more creative, focus on these type of values we want to create for them, hard work, tenacities, creativity, things like that. We got to know how to regulate the screen time addiction is what I'm trying to say. Because here's the thing, iPad is not really the problem, true or false. The issue is then how do we as parents, how do we teach them how to use iPad effectively? And how do we teach them to use iPad wisely so that they can make their own decision? So we're going to wrap up here. By the way, I love hearing from you. Comment below for any questions and our feedback. I'll personally address them in our future talks. Until then, live purposely, love passionately, and be the most remarkable parent you can be. We'll see you in future episodes.